Welcome back to part 2 of What If Zuko was or gains the power of zero. So, in the first part, I went over all the way to USJ name, like where the story began, and then yeah. So now we're on the sports festival thing. So before of course, Zuko hadn't enough experience with dealing with his dreams. But the one day his body was tired out because he was trying to sleep, but sometimes he can, like, his motor functions can't operate because so he ends up getting knocked out, like sleeping kind. So that's why they implemented dorms earlier. So he ends up going to his bedroom, laid down, took a nap, thing. And of course, Momo thinks it's so cute when he's asleep thing. Yeah. You want to see? Yeah, so yeah, basically so he so Eraserhead and knows that he even respects Zuko because having this much or having a multiverse bender's power, it's insane. Yeah, so eventually he so his quirk evolved into his ability. So yeah. So if you guys wanted, because I asked the question in the first part of this video, or the part 1, go check it out. It's cool. I'm cool. I'll have it probably linked in the description. And yeah, so he basically just he absolutely annihilates everything. Like, inside of his own head, there was this, like, instead of a grave, instead of a grave, he was at a villain's base. Actually at the bar. As he looks around, and he sees a shadowy figure with green aura things. This one. As he looks, as he turns around, and he sees Zuko. As Zuko, and of course, there was no one else around. Like, all the villains were just, like, left before. So Zuko, or Void, looks at him and tells him that he says, the you must be Zuko. And let me remind you, this is inside his head. So they nice to meet you, Zuko. And I'm Void. I am you from a what if what if I was a Nomu? As he tells them that tells him that your er, you're the only person that I could understand. So yeah, Zuko, who ends up visiting with Void for 3 hours. Yeah. So, but in the Zuko's like in his world, Momo walked in because they switch out or they try to wake him up. And or actually they just let him sleep. So, yeah. And let's say one of the Class B students is, this guy right here, he made a smart, comment thing. As one of them punched him in the face, sends him flying backwards. As the class representative, that girl right here says that he has a quirk that allows him to basically, because I know that the Class A worries about him if it's a side effect to his quirk. I know I'm making it so that his quirk has that side effect to make him sleep, and every time he goes to bed, he sees alternate versions of him, the ones that make sense in my own head. So yeah, 3 hours in, Zuko woke up before he woke up, he tells Void, this guy right here, I'm making sure it's still on, so, yeah. So, the Void tells him that, tell your friends hi. Sorry about that, the interruption, and there's a lot of those in these, I notice, in my videos. There's a lot of interruptions, like people call me, people trying to get my attention, and yes. So, where we left off, Zuko, or Void, says his goodbyes before Zuko leaves to wake up in his back to his universe. And yes, the it it was painful for Void to see or saying his goodbyes to his friend. As when he woke up, um, um, and of course, Nezu, who, who, be, Nezu, says how, or actually, Mr. Azawa, actually asks him, how did you sleep? Pretty good, but but the person that I talked to in my dream was Void. Really? Yeah. An alternate version of myself. Because last time I talked to one of myself, it was Doomsday he won. Yeah. And his whole backstory, as Nezu says, ooh, what is he? So you mentioned him before. So can you tell me what his backstory is? Like how he... Well, he's basically me, but when he was at a quirk doctor's office, he does like that stuff. Um, and yeah, Zuko was in was trying to think about the. Or of course, I'm not gonna bore you with the same story that the quirk doctor shot his mother that and took him in. Because Zuko or I already went over it. And when when Nezu and Eraserhead, All Might, or actually he did explain it to Tenya. So all the Class 1A, Class 1B, he heard about Doomsday Zuko's backstory. And he tells, and he says in the funniest way to make it not so dang serious. So yeah, the basically basically some of them are like, man, that seems like the Nomu that could end the world in 2 seconds. Yeah. And one of them says, who could blame him? He lost his mother and then got tortured for how many years was that? Well, let's see. He was the same age that gets their quirks things, like age of 4. And then the Zuko, who says, well, he gets tortured all the way to 15. So that was about 11 years I could be wrong, but yeah, 11 years of his own life and getting tortured as that the Mr. Aizawa was like, it seems unfazed, but Momo, who, and like, or I almost said Nezu, or actually Nezu says, well, that just seems, and yeah, this is a question for you, Zuko, okay. So what was the torture thing? Well, it's more like he's he was going through the Nomu project, turning the like corpses of people into Nomus that can be puppeteers, all that stuff. Well, there was a project that he, as Zuko used his memory thing, like he when he woke up, the one thing that fell out of his head or out of his ear was a memory chip, though. Or not that kind of memory chip, though. Yeah, so once he plugged it into a computer, like hooked it up to a big screen for the Class 1A and the Pro Heroes to see, it had a recording of the court doctor, her voice, saying, this is gonna be a good, or you're gonna be a good soldier and all that stuff. As they literally see a Nomu, or two Nomus, tearing Zuko limb from limb. Then the court doctor takes him, puts him back together, puts him in, does that process over and over and over until he gets the Nomu thing. Yeah. As they saw her, like, he didn't realize that Zuko, that's the other thing I just realized about what they didn't do. Well, I think if someone had a portal, like Kirigiri would open the portal, would they, like, cut him in half? Or, like, cut his head off and teleport his head to somewhere far away? And with the chopped up his entire body thing? Yeah. So, yeah, basically, they could not believe it. They were horrified of what Doomsday Zuko went through. As the and then the project went berserk, and he escaped, and the villains were, as they see a massacre as they see the Nomu killing, as he rips Momo's head right off, and yeah, all that stuff. As they were terrified, as Binko is like, is a little bit surprised about it, but for us, if you guys want to see that full, like, how it goes, let me know, and I'll put links in the description. So, yeah, Zuko ends up becoming it. But this time, as he says, this time I met a, if I had a Kirigiri's powers, that warp guy one that you saw, Almighty. Imagine I went through that process instead of the Doomsday Project. Well, yeah, after seeing, like, you kicking my butt had that, I'm more afraid of if someone had, or if they went that crazy. Yeah. And so there was actually, instead of one, there's two. Or no, actually, there's one, and it was called Multiverse one. So the next one that they meet, he actually knew that he's getting recorded. And it was this guy. Yeah. He says, "Hello, everyone. My name is Void. But all of you know me, or some of you might know me as used to be Zuko Midoriya." And he explains his whole background and yeah. So and he says it in the smoothest tone, as most of the girls are loving on him. Like, if he was there, they would probably ask him to get married to them. Yeah. But Rinko and Momo, where they choose their Zuko from this alternate timeline, not Void. Yeah, so is that about that? Yeah, so Zuko ends up, as most of the girls, and it includes his sister, his friends, his family, everybody, that when they heard that so then he also meets a special person. He also met this guy right here, the one that's on top. Well, he was, of course, let me show you a better picture. This guy right here, this one, he ends up, or like his body, or after like school, he goes back to the dorms, and he sleeps him, as he, of course, meets him in person. And he tells him that, how were you? Oh, I was born, and then, of course, all that stuff. So, yeah. If you guys want me to do a an alternate version of it, please leave a like, share, subscribe. And don't worry, it's not over yet. So, yes. The So he meets them. So he meets all the alternate versions. And he sometimes is scared. And of it. As Bakugo knows that Zuko, meets him. And yeah. And so Bakugo says, yeah, or because he meets so many alternate versions of him, Bakugo tells Zuko that he would rather have him to be his friend. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, then the whole sports hustle thing happened. Of course, Zuko was in the booth with Mr. Ozawa and his Mike as a little bed thing. So, and Midnight tells them that reason why that we have less or one less person because he's upstairs. They're sleeping. And they're like, man, is he that tired out? Well, because his power allows him to use their things, but the trade-off is actually him getting tired out and sleeping and meeting his alternate selves. So, yeah. So So his sister was in it, and she actually gains one for all, and she kept her by her side. Yeah. And then so he doesn't participate in it, but they understand that he doesn't want to hurt his. So then they ended up, he meets so many different ones during all that stuff. As, yeah, Zuko, who was scared out of his mind. How much so is up to you guys. So, yeah. So, basically, and I know that I probably said this in the last video, the one that was before this one. I said that I have links if you guys want to have a link to what the first one was, the thing was, and yeah, so basically, yes. So, yes. Then all these crazy stuff. I'm skipping the camp park. Then to All Might versus All for One and thing. But during the camp park, one of the students wants to see the limit side. As Tenya tells him, or actually, let's say Ochako yells at him because she didn't know that. So the of course, she says the sentence as Ochako or as Zuko walks past her, as he tells her that, good job. Now it's my turn. As Zuko, or actually Zuko did know that Ochako was gonna do that to him because he knew that one of them had to snap. So yeah, Zuko ends up using his full power of Zero, and it also evolved his body into the way musclier than the Doomsday Zuko. His skin is more tan, like tannish brown color. His toes. Yeah, and then his hair turns into like that, but with like when it goes split down, instead of having like red and white, he has blue and green, like Seahawks colors. As he allows all the alternate versions of himself to be infused into his own body. Yeah. As he shows his true form. As he walks, or no, he runs as All for One and turns to him, or turns away from All Might as he says, guess that student that sleeps more than a normal human has finally awoken his full power. As All Might was trying to, because he was down, but not out. As All for One and says there's no point in fighting you, All Might. I would rather fight someone that's new guy. So he ends up flies all the way to where Zuko was at. And yeah. So please wait for part 3.